All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another video here on the Extra SROS channel. Today, we're talking about ESPN's Morant trade ideas. You guys have enjoyed this for when I've talked about Giannis, ESPN trade ideas, same with Anthony Davis and Trae Young. So we're continuing the hot topic, which is Morant. Morant was made somewhat available on the trade market on Friday when Shams Charania of ESPN reported his availability. You guys know that I talked about in the Morant trade idea video yesterday, in which I came up with my Morant trade ideas, that I was away for the weekend, so I really couldn't talk really about anything on this topic throughout the weekend, so I wanted to react to this. It came out on January 9th. We haven't really learned anything new outside of maybe some Morant cryptic tweets that any trade is going to transpire anytime soon. So let's see what we got. I think we have 4 trade ideas from ESPN. And let's see what we have here. They kind of just go into the financial impact. They go into like how we got here and what maybe a trade would look like. So the first one involves the Miami Heat. Now, Heat fans, I feel you right now. The Heat have been playing some really bad basketball over the last few weeks. I know a few Heat fans, and they've been kind of, I don't know, sounding the alarm. The sky is falling. I've heard Heat fans say we need to trade Hero, Bam, and Norman Powell and completely rebuild this roster, which is kind of crazy. The Heat were one of the more exciting teams at the start of the year, kind of debuting this new play style, barely running any pick and roll. And then Tower Hero came back. I'm not going to say that it's been because of Tower Hero returning that the Heat have not been playing some good basketball as of late. But yeah, the Heat have been kind of on a little bit of a skid over the last month or so. Bam Adebayo has not been great over the last 3 weeks as an offensive player. And now we're at a point where that Bam extension is about to fully kick in. He's about to be making like 35% of the cap or 30% of the cap. Would they think about some switch up? Now, the Heat have always kind of been waiting for that top guy. They had Jimmy Butler for about 5 or so years. They trade Jimmy Butler to Golden State last year after failing to maybe get that second co-star to Jimmy Butler. And now we're at the point where, yeah, you have great maybe number 2 and number 3 options in Hero, Bam, and Powell, but you don't have that number 1. Do you think Morant can be that number 1? Because if so, this is a time to get in where their proposed trade is Tower Hero and Simone Fontecchio to make the money work. This is a very interesting deal for Memphis because they're not getting any draft capital back. They're not really getting any good young players. But Tower Hero is from that 2019 draft class, the same as Morant. I think he should be about a year younger because he was a freshman. He's 25. Morant is 26, although Hero is going to be 26 in about 8 days. Hero's played 9 games this year, 49 from the field, 34 from 3, 91% from the free throw line. I didn't really expect Hero to be this elite 3-point shooter when he returned. I don't know, off a serious injury, I thought it would take a little bit of time. I think, was it a foot injury? I forget. Don't quote me on that. 34% from 3 on 5.8 attempts. His track record is way too good of being pretty much an elite 3-point shooter on high volume over the last 4 seasons, where he's not going to get back there anytime soon. Now, the one thing with Hero, he is a free agent at the end of next year's season. So you have him at a really good price tag, 31 mil this year, 33 mil next year. But for Memphis, if you're signaling a Morant trade, are you willing to, I don't know, are you going to reroute Tower Hero? You're not getting any draft capital. You will free up about a year off those players' contract, as Morant is under contract for the next 3 years, as including this year, and Hero's the next 2 years, including this year. So you go from to Hero. I mean, now you still have a ton of guards, right? You have Coward and Wells, who can kind of be wings. Now, Coward has definitely looked better than Jalen Wells this year. Wells has hit a little bit of a sophomore slump. Cam Spencer has taken a leap this year. We unfortunately haven't seen any Ty Jerome, who was maybe their big free agency signing. And we haven't seen any Scottie Pippen either. So there's still a lot of guard play to be seen in Memphis. You go out and get Tower Hero, who might fit your system better. I don't hate that, honestly, because I do think Hero is better in a secondary role than Morant. And I think when you're looking at wins above replacement and how many wins are these players adding in the Memphis ecosystem, I don't really think it's that different. You can maybe even make an argument this offense can really reach its full European style that Tumas wants to run under Tower Hero with quick subs and quick ball movement. Maybe that's just he's basically Desmond Bane for him, honestly. That's just basically what this trade is. And you're getting Simone Fontecchio just to make the money work. He's under an expiring contract. I mean, for Miami, I don't know if I love the idea of Morant in Miami, but if there's a spot for him to get locked in, it's under Spo, it's under Pat Riley, and obviously a culture-changing environment. They've proved in the past that they can actually get guys to buy in to what they're building there. I mean, I don't hate this idea for either team if you're really looking to change up your identity, but you're really hoping that Ja, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, maybe your front court is Bam and Ware at its peak. Does that elevate this offense by any means? Maybe. Maybe Miami never really planned on giving Hero 40 plus million a year on an extension that he'd probably be asking for. I mean, I have no idea if they're going to sign Norman Powell. Like, what if Norman Powell becomes available this year on the trade block? And that is one of the more intriguing trade pieces this February. So I don't hate this idea. I don't know. Like, I'm sure if you're a Heat fan, you'd love to get this deal done with like Rozier. You'd love to do Jovic, but the poison pill is too tough. I mean, theoretically, can we do like I don't know. Does Ja, Hero, and Norman Powell make sense? Not really, but can you do like Rozier and Davion Mitchell? Like just seeing if that money works, where it's an expiring money. You could do this, and then you could probably throw in one first round pick. So that does work. I mean, yeah. I don't know. That's probably not enough for Memphis. Obviously, a first round pick would have to be in this trade. Like say you throw in the 2030 first rounder. I think that works. So you could throw in that. I'm sure you could maybe sprinkle in either, maybe you keep Davion Mitchell in all this and you sprinkle in Fontecchio. And I mean, Fontecchio might work actually. Wow, Fontecchio does work. I was going to say Fontecchio and Yakuchonis in a way. So you keep Davion Mitchell. I mean, that does work out financially. I mean, how much money do the Heat have flexibility-wise? Can you do Rozier and Yakuchonis? I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, that doesn't work. But, hey, it's an idea that you can rework rework the terms of this deal. I wonder if Norman Powell would make sense being a third player here, where he would have some value that maybe a team would kick in a young player or a first round pick to Miami for Norman Powell, but those two assets get rerouted to Memphis. Norman Powell goes to a Milwaukee, he goes to a Golden State or something like that, and Memphis gets expiring money, young player pick or so. Miami ends up trading away Norman Powell and Terry Rozier, and maybe that's it, honestly, because maybe like Memphis definitely prefers Hero over Powell, and maybe they do like Hero for all I know, but you got to realize that like, can you trade an expiring Hero? Probably, but is it going to be worth what you'd have to get back is more long-term money that you don't want in Memphis. I think they're trying to just rework the cap sheet going forward. So I don't hate it. I wonder if you're trying to maximize this team going forward where Ja, Hero, and Bam are kind of all around the same age in a way, where you're not trying to do John Powell, you're trying to do John Hero. And I think that could still work. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Bucks getting Ja Morant. Desperate times call for desperate measures, baby. So Milwaukee gets Ja. Milwaukee just played Denver with Giannis. Ryan Reynolds did not play well. My guy, Ryan Reynolds. And they lost to Denver. A Denver team in which they had no Jokic in that game. They had no Jamal Murray, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm just throwing up the box score here because I don't want to get it wrong from who I was watching out. No Jamal Murray, no Nikola Jokic, no Cam Johnson, no Christian Brown. And they lost by 4. It was in Denver. It's just like, I don't know, man. I can't take Milwaukee, even with Ja Morant, as any type of contender this year. If this is what it takes, yes, I'll do it, actually. I think we were reacting to, was it Trae Young or Michael Porter Jr. trade ideas? I think it might have been Michael Porter Jr. trade ideas. Do not give up your 2031 first. Do not trade it. Unless you're getting like a top 25 player in the league that's under the age of 30, I am not trading away your 2031 first rounder when you have no freaking clue where Giannis is going to be. But if I'm trading Kuzma, Porter Jr., so Memphis is getting a pick swap, which is intriguing because, okay, this could be a juicy asset that could work out in Milwaukee's favor. So Milwaukee would most likely trade away their swap on top of the swap. So right now, Atlanta's getting the better of New Orleans and Milwaukee. Say New Orleans wins the lottery, Milwaukee gets 5, Atlanta gets number 1 from New Orleans, Milwaukee keeps 5, but Milwaukee can now throw a swap on the swap with Memphis, who already has a swap. So now we're just saying, F the casual fan. You guys are going to have to learn quantum physics to learn the Suns, Wizards, potential Knicks, but probably not with the protection, Hornets, Magic, Grizzlies, Bucks, Pelicans pick swap. It's going to be 9 teams in a pick swap by the time we're all done with it, which will actually be hilarious. And maybe we can end swaps on swaps. I don't know. But yeah, that would basically be it. So say Milwaukee gets pick 5, Memphis gets pick 8. They're swapping it, which, hey, could be intriguing for Memphis. But I would assume that if Milwaukee gets Ja for Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter, they can make the money work. Now, I remember in the Michael Porter Jr. trade, I think it was, Detroit got involved for Cole Anthony and cash to make it work. So that's why I'm like kind of confused in a way, because I don't think Milwaukee, like when I went through this, was able to trade. Now, sorry if you guys commented this and I missed it, but Milwaukee was not able to trade for Michael Porter Jr., who I'm pretty sure is making the same dollar amount. So they send out Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., and Gary Harris in this trade to Memphis for Ja. Like maybe there's a way to make cash considerations work in this deal. I don't know. Like I would assume, wouldn't Milwaukee need the cash to make the money work because they don't have the cap space for this? What just happened here? So actually, no, if this does work, Ja for Kuzma, Porter Jr., and Gary Harris. Now, I mean, Porter Jr. could be off your team at the end of the year, but he also has a player option. Maybe he picks it up. Gary Harris could be off your team at the end of the year, but I think actually you might have a player option real quick. Gary Harris has a player option, so he could opt into that. I don't know if you want that either way. It's just like, would you rather have Kuzma or Tower Hero? I'd rather have Tower Hero, to be honest with you. Like, the swap on swap intrigues me if you really don't think Ja's going to result to that many wins. I mean, now you're rolling out Ja, Ryan Rollins, AJ Green, Giannis, and Turner. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Now, but you're going to have two non-shooters out there with Ja and Giannis, which teams can really use to their advantage. They'll just freaking run zone again. Well, but then again, you have AJ Green out there, you have Ryan Rollins, and you have Miles Turner. All can shoot the three ball. AJ Green can shoot it extremely well. I mean, if this is what it's going to cost, I don't hate this for Milwaukee. I would actually do this. You're getting an all-star caliber player for 20 cents on the dollar, 25 cents on the dollar. There is a chance that you are buying in at the lowest, and it's going to continue to get low, or some. Well, that doesn't make sense, but you're buying a distraught asset that's on the brink of just collapse. So yeah, maybe. But I don't hate this for Milwaukee. Detroit's kind of irrelevant in this trade. They're getting free cash, sure. Maybe Gary Harris, fine flyer for them. But Memphis gets like, okay, so Memphis isn't getting Gary Harris, but they're getting Kevin Porter Jr., Kuzma in the swap. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think I'd rather just take the chance on Hero and potentially rerouting Hero somewhere else if I'm Memphis. Next up, we have a Toronto Raptors one, which I do think could be a wild card in a Ja sweepstakes. I don't know if they would value Ja more or Trae Young more if they were actually ever serious about getting Trae. Now, they would trade away their lottery-protected pick this year, Agbaji and quickly for Ja. To be honest with you, now I know Toronto, they're not a good three-point shooting team. Ja Morant is not a good three-point shooter. You already have Jakob Poeltl, who can't shoot the three ball. You already have Ingram, who's not a high-volume three-point guy. And you have Scotty, who could be somewhat of a volatile three-point shooter. Conor Boyle's not really the most proven three-point shooter by any means. Now you're trading for a 20% three-point shooting guy, but Ja Morant has one less year on his contract than Emmanuel Quickley, so that alone would maybe think about doing this for sure. And Ja Morant is under contract for the next 3 years, so it's not like you're trading away your first this year for somebody that could leave you this year or even next year. Agbaji's kind of been out of the rotation pretty much. You're more invested in Jacoby Walter, like obviously Jamal Shed and Conor Boyles. I mean, Grady Dick, I don't know like what they're going to end up doing with him. I wonder if they would actually trade away him at one point as well. I would love for them to get like Jock Landale in this deal because they could use a Jock Landale. I mean, Memphis could re-sign Jock Landale because he's been their only healthy center this year for most of the season. If Toronto can get Landale, who's been good this year actually when I'm watching him, I've enjoyed watching his hoops, I think, more than Aldama. I would say, but not obviously Edey's way better, but I would do that trade if I was Toronto. If I could get off the Quickly last year of that deal, which expires 1 year after the Ja Morant contract, if I could get, like, it's only costing me the 20th pick in the draft. Like, you go to the Toronto financials here, like, Emmanuel Quickley is under contract till 2029. Ja's up after 2028 for, like, 10 million more. I would do that, honestly. Yeah, I would do this trade in a heartbeat. Like I said, I would really like to get Jock Landale, who's making the minimum. So I'm sure that would work. Like, it would work financially. I don't know if they'd want to trade him. He is 30 years old. Right now, you'd be giving up the 20th pick in the draft, kind of similar to where Jimmy Butler's pick that was given exactly at 20 to Golden State. I would do this if I were Toronto. I would definitely do this if I can get Landale. Do I love Ja Morant and Darko's system? I don't, but I do think it's worth the risk for somebody of Ja's caliber either way. For Memphis, you have to really like Emmanuel Quickley, but I'm not like thrilled about getting a guard back when you have Coward, Wells, who could be the threes, obviously. You have Pippen, you have Ty Jerome, you have Cam Spencer. You're getting Agbaji to make the money work, but you're getting the 20th pick in the draft. I mean, I don't hate it for Memphis. I think I'd rather have Hero than Quickley's 4-year deal remaining. And then this is the last one. Ja going to Minnesota. Rob Dillingham, Naz Reid in a second to Memphis. Terrence Shannon Jr. to Washington. Mike Conley goes back to Utah. I don't know. Okay, so Washington, I guess cash is involved. I don't know who's thrown in that second, maybe Minnesota. Washington's getting Terrence Shannon Jr. for free. We felt like they got Cam Whitmore for free. I don't really think Washington needs another player like Terrence Shannon Jr. It's fine. Maybe it could work out. I don't think I would like this for Washington. For Utah, sure, cash for an expiring Mike Conley, right? Mike Conley is expiring, I believe, at the end of the year. Let me just double check this. I think like more that I thought about it. Yeah, he's expiring. I don't really like the idea of Minnesota trading for Ja Morant. I don't really think that's what they're building right now. And Minnesota has been arguably the best team in the NBA in the month of January and over the last maybe 3 or so weeks. So you're now trading Naz Reid, who's a fan favorite, but I do agree that Reid and Randall maybe don't need to both be on this team where you can really add another lead ball handler next to Anthony Edwards. But now I'm going to have Ja Morant out there, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Randall, and Gobert. We'll see how Gobert looks in a playoff series. We've seen it time and time again not really work out to the fullest extent for teams that deploy him out there. But you have Randall who's playing at a great level. You still keep DiVincenzo and all this. I am fine with trading Dillingham. Ja's under contract for the next 3 years. You're not really losing too much depth because Bones Hyland has kind of been your backup point guard. So you're basically going from Naz Reid to Ja Morant. 2 years ago, yeah, I would like that. It's crazy that I'm wondering who has more value right now. I don't like the idea of just Minnesota getting Ja. I really don't. I'd love to do Dillingham and a first for Kobe White, or Dillingham, Shannon and a first for Kobe White, or Dillingham and Shannon for Dosunmu and extend one of those guys. That's what I would prefer. I just don't think it's worth going for Ja Morant. But then again, like you're going to get off of the Gobert contract. It's the same time frame as Ja. So you'd have Randall, Gobert, player options for 28, Ja under contract for 28. You have McDaniels 1 more year. Reid, you get out of that contract if you don't think it's going to age the best. Even though Reid's been good as of late. Would Memphis want Reid? I don't know if you can really deploy Reid and Jaren Jackson Jr. out there at the same time. You're going to get, I think, demolished on the boards. Yeah, Reid's not the worst rebounder in the world. I mean, you take a flyer on Dillingham if you think you can get anything out of him. Jacob Gilyard worked there. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if I like this one as much. This one I'm kind of indifferent on. I just don't think I really like the idea of Minnesota making the play for Ja. They say that Toronto is the best deal for Memphis. I think interesting. Miami intrigues me a little bit. Milwaukee, I think, is the team that's probably the most desperate one for Ja Morant. So I'd love to know what you guys think about these Ja Morant trade ideas down below. Maybe you can rank them 1 through 4 between the Raptors, Heat, Bucks, and Timberwolves. If you did enjoy, would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. I'm probably putting it 50-50 that we see a Ja Morant trade this year. I felt way more confident that we were going to see a Trae Young trade. A little less confident, but think it could still happen. Love you guys. Catch you on the next one. Peace.